Prince Harry has made a number of quite extraordinary statements in the court here in this historic testimony in this case against the Mirror group of newspapers, beginning with a 51-page written statement that was released at the commencement of the hearings, about 25,000 words, and much of that a good deal of bile against the media and against the government and breaking royal tradition of media staying away from politics. He has said that the government has hit rock bottom together with the media, and that the media is failing in its duty to hold the government accountable. While this is only one, of course, of a number of protocols or unwritten protocols about royalty that Prince Harry has broken. He spoke at some length in his testimony about Chelsea Davy, his former girlfriend. He mentions her all of 126 times, and he says it's the media that was responsible for the breakup of that relationship through intrusive reporting that really drove her away. It's not clear how Meghan is going to view that particular statement and that assertion made at some length. There are a number of claims that Harry makes about intrusive media reporting, and all the way from his childhood, from his school days to school injuries, where he says that details known only to the doctors and to his immediate circle were reported in the media, were reported in the Mirror, and he implies that this was due to hacking. This goes on at length about private conversations with Chelsea that he says found their way into the Mirror. But talking extraordinary testimony, the defense from the Mirror has been extraordinary as well. Mirror argues that a lot of this information had already been reported by other newspapers in its defense, that it was not hacking that led to the unearthing and then the publication of such information. So Mirror clearly acknowledging that it simply picked up these stories from other newspapers. That, of course, is another matter. This now is turning out to be a series of broadsides that Harry is aiming at the Mirror group and against the government, and really against royalty itself as it is established in Buckingham Palace and around. But these broadsides really are taking a moral rather than a legal view, moral as he sees it. The question before the court is far more specific. It's not whether this was intrusive reporting. It's not even about how upsetting this was for Harry and for his family emotionally. It's about whether hacking took place or not. Harry has implied this. He says that the Mirror journalists should themselves come and testify that they have not done and have not yet been asked to do. But this is now a case where the outcome will rely on the specifics of these allegations of hacking, whether they stick or not. Harry is using this as a board, as a sounding board, and as a stepping stone to launch a number of attacks on the government and on the media, and very broadly on the Mirror itself. But the evidence is what will matter. So far, we've not had a lot of it. There are suggestions that Mirror groups that reported these stories about him were in touch with private investigators. Whether that amounts to evidence is something that the court will decide. But clearly this is a case where Harry is taking one line of approach, which is the broad moral view as he sees it, and the lawyer for the Mirror group is challenging him on the specifics, and that is where the decision will arise. That is where the court will rule whether or not there are particular instances and whether there is evidence of hacking.